Hannah felt the first warning tremor in her eyelid halfway through the third can of espresso soda. The office lights in Boise's tech corridor always seemed too bright after 6 p.m., but tonight they felt weaponized. She blinked hard, forcing her focus back to the Sprint dashboard on her second monitor. 5 tickets left to close, all overdue, each one another ounce of guilt she would carry home. Adam pinged her from the opposite end of the open-plan floor. Let's call it. PTA stream starts in 30. Her thumb hovered over the reply bubble. Their 6-year-old, Milo, had begged them that morning to be at the meeting in person because his class was presenting a papier-mâché solar system. Hannah had promised she would clap the loudest. Now she typed back a week. Live stream is still showing up. We'll watch from the couch. I'll bring cookies. A minute later, she read his response. Just a thumbs-up emoji that somehow radiated exhaustion, and the guilt thickened. They had never missed a PTA meeting. Not once in 5 years. Outside, dust pooled violet over the Treasure Valley. Hannah powered down, grabbed her laptop, and hurried toward the elevator bank, weaving between half-standing desks and the low murmur of after-hours ambition. Adam met her at the lobby security gate. Tie already loosened, phone pressed to his ear as he rescheduled a stand-up. He ended the call with a muttered, "Sorry, buddy." She couldn't tell if he meant a developer on the line or himself. "Let's just be quick," he said. "Milk, bread, whatever Milo's lunch needs. We'll make the stream." They crossed the parking garage, shoes echoing in the concrete hush. On level 3, their blue Tesla blinked its headlights in greeting as the key fob approached. A crisp autumn wind chased a handful of maple leaves across the ramp, and Hannah shivered despite her puffer vest. 40 minutes later, they rolled into Brookstone Circle, the cul-de-sac they had chosen for its promise of calm predictability. Porch lights glowed warm along identical craftsman facades. Children's bikes leaned like lazy commas against fences. The Clark's house sat third from the end, sharing a wide, landscape parking strip with a 1-story bungalow owned by Clinton, a night-shift trauma nurse and single father of 2. Hannah loved that Milo could kick a soccer ball without fear of traffic. She loved that she could ask Clinton to collect a package or water the basil when they traveled. She loved, most of all, the sense that nothing truly bad could happen here. Inside, Haven Hub greeted them with its soft female timbre. "Welcome home. Hannah, temperature is 68 degrees. One voicemail from the school office. "Play," Hannah said as she kicked off her flats. The system chirped. Then an automated voice reminded parents that the PTA meeting had begun, and that in-person attendance was strongly encouraged to foster community. Adam winced. "We're the community, too." He headed for the kitchen, setting the grocery bag on the island. The smart fridge blinked awake, suggesting recipes. Hannah popped the laptop open on the counter and navigated to the school's private YouTube link. The live stream buffer spun. Still says waiting for host. "Probably just slow Wi-Fi at the school," Adam said. "We have time." He poured kibble for their aging retriever, Bowie, who patted over with arthritic enthusiasm. A sudden hiss crackled from the ceiling speakers, radio static, then a fragment of music, an old tango, violin scraping mournfully. A male announcer's Spanish rolled out, distorted and abrupt. "Noticiero des Buenos Aires," before the system cut back to silence. "What the hell?" Adam frowned at the nearest speaker. "Haven Hub glitch. It's been doing weird latency handshakes since the last firmware," Hannah said. "I'll file a ticket tomorrow." She refreshed the stream. Still nothing. She texted Clinton, "We're lame parents. Can you fill Milo's part?" Then started unpacking groceries. Outside the kitchen window, she saw Clinton's kids, Eva and Leo, chasing each other with glow sticks along the parking strip. Their laughter floated in, bright as the string lights Adam had stapled to the eaves last summer. At 7:52 p.m., Haven Hub chimed. Front door closed. Driveway camera offline for scheduled update. Neither adult registered the wording. By the time they realized a live stream wasn't coming, it was 8:30. Milo would already be home on the bus with Clinton's kids, eating the sugar cookies Hannah had baked at dawn. She and Adam grabbed jackets and decided to do a quick snack run, an excuse, really, to shake off the creeping shame of missing the presentation. They were gone 21 minutes. 21 minutes during which the cul-de-sac's illusion of safety ruptured like thin ice. Returning, they turned into Brookstone Circle and braked hard. Red and blue strobes fractured the night. 2 police cruisers angled across the mouth of the shared parking strip. A cluster of neighbors stood behind yellow tape, faces watching emergency light. Hannah's stomach lurched as she saw Clinton on his knees in the grass, wrists cuffed behind him, an officer's hand on his shoulder. Eva and Leo lay motionless on the lawn, tiny forms obscured by paramedics. Blood soaked the grass, glistening black under lead lamps. Hannah's scream ripped out before she could stop it. Adam threw the car into park and bolted, but an officer intercepted him. "Sir, stay back. That's our neighbor. Those are kids." Scene is active. Hannah staggered around the car, tears blurring her vision. She searched for Milo. A female officer recognized her. "Your son is safe inside with another officer. We need you to stay clear." The words "safe inside" felt surreal, like dialogue from a show she'd watched on a second screen. She nodded, numb. Clinton's voice keened across the lawn. "I was looking for them." "I didn't. Eva wanted," Leo said he heard. He choked, unable to finish. Detective Maria Reyes arrived minutes later, dark hair pulled tight, expression carved from stone. She surveyed the bodies, the cul-de-sac, the parents frozen in shock. She noticed the precise, almost surgical incisions on Eva's abdomen, the way Leo's shirt had been removed with clinical care. She noticed, too, that one organ from each child was missing. She said none of this aloud. Instead, she approached Clinton, whose scrubs were spattered crimson. "Where were you between 7:15 and 8:30? I was inside getting Milo cookies. Then I realized they were gone. So Anyone with you?" "No. I came out and found them like this. I tried to stop the bleeding." He sobbed. They were still breathing. Maria nodded to the patrol officer. Clinton was eased into the back of a cruiser. The neighborhood murmured, a hive of shock and speculation. Hannah clutched Adam's arm. "We left. We weren't here. Sure, Milo's okay." But she wasn't comforting him. She was punishing herself. Inside their house, Milo sat on the couch in dinosaur pajamas, Bowie's head in his lap. An officer offered Hannah a blanket she didn't feel. She knelt, cupping Milo's cheeks. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head, lip trembling. "Eva told me to stay inside. She said they were playing hide and seek." The officer explained that Milo had been found unharmed, doors locked. Haven hub logs confirmed no entry after 8:05 p.m. Hannah's mind snagged on the timestamp. They'd been home until 8:30. Why would the system think the door hadn't opened since 8:05? Detective Maria entered, voice low. "Mrs. Clark, Mr. Clark, I need access to your exterior cameras. They cover the parking strip, correct?" Hannah swallowed. "Yes. Haven Hub records everything." "Good. Our forensics unit will collect the data card tonight." Adam gestured to the kitchen. "Server hubs in the pantry." Maria's eyes softened briefly at Milo before she followed the officer to the pantry. Hannah hugged her son, feeling his heartbeat like a hummingbird. Over his shoulder, she saw the fridge screen. The shopping list glowed incomplete. Milk, bread, forgiveness. At 1:13 a.m., after Milo finally slept and the last cruiser rolled away, Hannah stood at the kitchen island staring at the little black Haven Hub drive Detective Maria had forgotten in the rush. It sat beside a Ziploc bag of half-eaten cookies Clinton's kids would never finish. She connected the drive to her laptop. Encrypted directories bloomed. She located the 8:00-9:30 buffer and hit play. The screen showed a grainy view of the driveway. At 8:13 a.m., tall figure in a dark hoodie approached from the sidewalk, something metallic glinting in his hand. He moved with eerie calm. The timestamp read 2013, but Hannah's smartwatch had buzzed 8:13 while they were still bagging bread at the store. The figure turned toward the parking strip. Camera 2 caught only the top of his head as he crouched. Then the screen pixelated. Haven Hub's update cycle had cut the feed. When the image returned, the driveway was empty. The figure had vanished. Hannah scrubbed back to 9:06. The video silent, but the audio track remained. 2 male voices. The first was unmistakably Clinton, his Midwestern cadence pleading. The second was accented, smoother, Spanish with a Germanic tightness around the consonants. "Windows close in 2 hours, the accented man said. "Pancreas first. Then we take the rest." Clinton's voice trembled. "They're my children." A sharp sound, maybe a slap. Organs don't care whose body they were born in. Hannah's hand flew to her mouth. She forced herself to keep listening. "Malaysian flight leaves at 6. The stranger continued. "Don't waste my time." Static swallowed the rest. She stopped the playback, heart pounding. Clinton wasn't pleading innocence. He was pleading mercy. And the other man, she had never heard that voice before. She reached for her phone to call Detective Maria, but froze. The system timestamp was wrong by nearly an hour. If this glitch surfaced in court, the defense would shred it. Weiss, if the police believed the time code, they might think Clinton had hours to commit the murders when, in reality, they were shopping witnesses to the contrary. Hannah opened the Haven Hub developer forum. Dozens of posts about a daylight-saving bug shifting logs exactly 57 minutes forward under specific route to firmware. Her stomach sank. She typed a frantic comment asking for manual patch. Behind her, a floorboard creaked. She spun, expecting Adam. No one. Bowie slept by the couch. She checked the back door. Locked. Windows. Latched. Still, she felt watched. On the screen, the stranger's accented threat replayed in her mind. Organs don't care whose body they were born in. She saved the file to a secure drive and unplugged the Haven Hub unit, holding it like a beating heart. Then she climbed the stairs to where Adam and Milo slept, telling herself the house was safe, telling herself daylight would make sense of the darkness. But outside, somewhere beyond the cul-de-sac, the stranger was already slipping into the next shadow, humming a tango no one else could hear. The dawn after the murders broke brittle and gray, as though the sun itself hesitated to illuminate what had happened. Hannah stood at the kitchen sink rinsing a mug she couldn't remember using, listening to the drip of the faucet. Each drop felt like a second lost forever to the night before. Adam shuffled in, unshaven, eyes red. Milo's still sleeping. "I called an emergency leave. They understand." Hannah nodded. She wasn't sure who they were. His manager, HR, the faceless corporation that ruled their schedules, but she was grateful for the pause. Outside, 2 local news vans idled at the cul-de-sac entrance, antennas spearing the overcast sky. A reporter rehearsed lines beside Clinton's taped-off lawn, where fluorescent evidence markers dotted the grass like poisonous mushrooms. Detective Maria Reyes returned at 8 a.m. sharp, wearing the same suit but a new layer of resolve. She accepted the coffee Adam offered, then placed a plain manila envelope on the island. "I need to walk you through some preliminary findings," she said, voice husky with fatigue. "But first, the drive you kept. Thank you. Chain of custody would have been a nightmare if it went missing." Hannah slid the Haven Hub unit across. Maria sealed it in an evidence bag. "We also pulled your interior microphones," Maria continued. "No signs of forced entry, no unusual noises between 7:30 and 9. "Except the tango," Adam said. Maria raised an eyebrow. Hannah explained the Argentine broadcast glitch. Maria jotted a note. "Anything else irregular?" Hannah hesitated. "The timestamps. They are off by 57 minutes. There's a firmware bug." She handed over a printout of forum post she'd compiled at 4 a.m. Maria scanned the pages. "Our text will verify, but this could change the timeline significantly." Adam leaned forward. "Does that help Clinton?" Maria's eyes flicked toward the window where Cruz is still Saturday. "It complicates things. He had blood on his clothes, but his story might fit if the time shift. We also found partial prints on the knife, too smudged for an immediate match." Hannah felt a pang. "What about the second voice in the recording?" "We're running voice recognition," Maria said. "Interpol databases. 2. But those take time." A soft thump on the front door made them all jump. Maria unholstered her sidearm, motioning Adam back. She opened the door a cautious inch. A lanky teenager with teal-streaked hair and a hoodie emblazoned with a pixelated skull stood holding a cardboard box. "Sky," Hannah exhaled, stepping forward. "It's okay, detective. He lives 2 houses down." Sky offered a nervous wave. I grabbed your mail before the vans could. Figured you didn't want footage of a bill collection." He handed over the box and a stack of envelopes. Maria relaxed but stuttered the boy. "You?" "Skylar, but everyone calls me Sky." I do freelance pen testing. He shrugged, as though hacking Fortune 500 companies for bug bounties were a typical extracurricular. Maria exchanged a look with Hannah. Pen testing? Huh? Think you could look at a corrupted video file. Sky's eyes lit up. If it's Haven Hub, I practically live in that code base. By noon, the kitchen had transformed into an impromptu cyber forensics lab. Sky's gaming laptop, stickers plastered across the lid, hummed beside Maria's department-issue tablet. Hannah and Adam hovered while Milo watched cartoons upstairs, unaware of the digital battlefield unfolding below. Sky typed rapid commands, mouth twitching in concentration. So, the DST bug causes a desync between the NTP server and the local router, but it also corrupts certain video keyframes. If I rebuild the GUP structure manually, he hit enter. A progress bar crawled. Maria sipped cold coffee. English version. It's like reconstructing a shredded photo, Hannah explained softly. He's lining up the edges. The bar hit 100%. Sky double-clicked the file. The footage sprang to life, clearer, smoother. The driveway again, 8:13. The hooded figure's face briefly angled toward camera 2. A lightning-fast reflection off a car window revealed a sharp jaw, high cheekbones, and a narrow scar above the left brow. Sky froze the frame, zoomed. Whoa, that's not Clinton. Maria leaned in. Can you sharpen? Already on it. The image clarified just enough to show dark eyes and a faint smile that chilled Hannah. Maria snapped a photo of the screen with her phone. I'll run facial recording. Sky rewound. Look, there's more. The video showed the man dumping something metallic, later identified as a motor weapon, into the clock's trash can. Time code 20 hours, 14 minutes, and 32 seconds. But we were still at the store, Adam said. He checked his banking app. The receipt timestamp read 8:16 p.m., meaning he planted evidence before the murders, Maria murmured. Premeditated framing. She stepped away to call the precinct. Hannah overheard snippets. Shift the perimeter. Verify Clinton's alibi. Need warrant for hospital CCTV. When Maria returned, her face was grimmer. Clinton's medication pickup at the hospital was logged at 8:05, adjusted time. That's barely minutes before this man appears. He couldn't be in two places. Adam rubbed his temples. So Clinton's innocent. Not necessarily, Maria cautioned, but someone is orchestrating a narrative. Sky spoke up. I hang on darknet channels for research. There's a rumor about an organ harvest broker called Maestro who marks sites with tango music. He swallowed. They say he worked in Argentina, Germany. Hannah felt the room tilt. The radio glitch. Maria's phone buzzed. She answered, listened, then put it on speaker. A text voice crackled. We have a voice ID match on the second speaker. Name, Mateo Torres. Argentine-German dual national. Red notice fugitive linked to 6 pediatric homicides across 2 continents. Sky whispered, Maestro. The revelation detonated across the investigation. Within hours, Boise PD liaised with a regional FBI field office. But bureaucracy moved slower than fear. News of a possible serial killer leaked, fueling the media bonfire. Reporters canvassed every driveway. Conspiracy threads multiplied online, painting Clinton as either tragic scapegoat or secret cartel operative. Clinton himself sat in county lockup, denied bail. Maria's request for his release met political stonewalling. No DA wanted to be the one who freed a man still smeared in his children's blood. At sunset, Hannah found herself pacing Milo's room while he assembled Lego astronauts. Each click of plastic sounded like a ticking bomb. Mom, Milo asked quietly, are Eva and Leo in the stars now? Hannah's throat closed. She knelt. Yes, baby, they're the brightest ones. Will they come back? She shook her head, tears spilling. But we'll remember them every time we look up. Milo hugged her. His small arm felt both fragile and anchoring. That night, Adam couldn't sleep. He sat at the dining table with Sky, diagrams of the Haven Hub network spread between them. Hannah joined, setting a mug of chamomile beside each laptop. We need to secure the house, Adam said. If Matteo hacked the speakers once, he can do it again. Sky nodded. I can isolate the subnet, reroute audio to a dummy server. But I think we should go offensive. Trace any incoming pings. Hannah shivered. Won't that provoke him? Adam's jaw tightened. He's already provoked. Sky tapped keys. I'll set a honeypot. If he logs back in, we'll get his IP. They worked past midnight. Bowie lifted his head occasionally. It was twitching at phantom sounds. Outside, the cul-de-sac lay silent, but every shadow felt occupied. At 2:17 a.m., Sky's script flagged a connection. The speakers hissed, the same tango, but now the violin screeched off-key, warped. A new voice emerged, synthetic, as though fed through a text-to-speech filter. Absence creates opportunity, it whispered. You missed one meeting. How many more will you miss before the ledger is balanced? Hannah's skin crawled. Adam slammed the mute button. Sky traced the IP, an exit node in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Cartel. Sky breathed. A second later, every smart bulb in the house strobed blood red. Milo screamed upstairs. Hannah bolted to him, heart hammering. The bulb snapped back to normal. Sky unplugged the Haven Hub master unit. Silence. Adam held Hannah as Milo sobbed between them. We're taking you to a hotel tomorrow, Adam told them both. No tech. But Hannah knew the danger wasn't in the devices. It was in the man who manipulated them. And he was still out there, closer than any of them dared imagine. Detective Maria's career began to unravel 2 days later. The mayor's office demanded a quick resolution. Donors threatened to pull funding from city initiatives if the killer nurse wasn't charged. When Maria insisted the evidence pointed elsewhere, her supervisor placed her on administrative leave for compromised objectivity. She boxed her desk, fury simmering. As she left the precinct, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Organs don't care whose body they were born in. Yours would fetch a high price. A location pin followed, Brookstone Circle. Maria's fingers tightened around her badge. She turned her car toward the cul-de-sac, siren off, determination roaring louder than any alarm. Hannah and Adam were loading suitcases when Maria arrived. The detective took in the scene, Milo clutching a stuffed triceratops, Sky unplugging cables, Bowie whining. You're running, Maria said. Relocating, Adam corrected. Matteo has our network. Maria stepped closer. If you leave, he wins. He thrives on fear. We need to turn the trap around. Hannah met her gaze. How? Maria opened her trunk, revealing evidence bags, a bulletproof vest, and a portable server. We bait him with exactly what he wants. Organs. We leak a message through the same channels as monitoring. Offer a fresh shipment. He'll come. Adam swallowed. That's insane. Insane is letting him disappear again, Maria said. You have a mesh of smart cameras, motion sensors, vehicle dash cams. We can blanket the street in eyes he doesn't control. Sky grinned nervously. I can rig a real-time broadcast to FBI Cyber. Hannah looked at Milo, who stared back with a bravery that belied his years. She knelt. You'll stay with Aunt Rachel tonight, okay? Just one sleepover. Milo nodded, trusting her word. Preparation consumed the next 24 hours. Maria donned civilian clothes, blending in as a displaced neighbor. Sky configured a private 5G hotspot immune to Haven Hub exploits. Adam rewired floodlights to manual overrides. Hannah drafted the bait message in Spanish, using organ trafficking jargon Sky found on darknet forums. At 6:02 p.m., Sky uploaded the message. Cargo secured. 2 pediatric livers viable. Pickup window 10 p.m. at Boise suburban coordinates. A subtle watermark embedded the cul-de-sac GPS. Then they waited. Rain began at 8 o'clock, soft at first, then pounding. Thunder rolled across the valley. Streetlights flickered. Hannah paced inside, radio APs feeding Sky's status reports. Adam manned the breaker panel. Maria sat in the darkened living room, Glock resting on her thigh, eyes fixed on the driveway monitor. At 9:47, motion sensors triggered. South entrance. A black van without plates crawled into Brookstone Circle, headlights off. It idled beside the parking strip where glow sticks still lay half-buried in grass. Sky whispered, "Target acquired." He pinged the FBI feed. The van door slid open. A tall man stepped into the rain. Hood up. He carried a silver case. Hannah's breath caught. That's him. Mateo Torres moved with surgical precision, scanning windows. Lightning flashed, illuminating the sky above his brow, the same face from the video. He walked toward Clinton's house first, then paused, as if sensing the shift in atmosphere. He turned to the clock's porch. Maria clicked her safety off. Wait for confirmation, Sky urged through the earpiece. FBI 5 minutes out. Mateo approached the trash can he'd used before. This time he retrieved something, a scalpel roll. He unrolled it on the wet porch bench, blades glinting. Adam, Maria hissed. Lights! Adam hit the switch. Every floodlight in the cul-de-sac exploded to life, white beams converging on Mateo like the wrath of heaven. He flinched but didn't run. Instead, he smiled, lifting a scalpel between 2 fingers. Come out, Hannah, he called, voice smooth over the rain. You owe me attendance. Hannah's knees buckled. Maria steadied her, then stepped onto the porch, weapon raised. Mateo Torres, she shouted. You're surrounded. Drop the blades. He laughed, a low, delighted sound. Detective Reyes. They said you were suspended. Surprise. Behind Mateo, the van's engine revved. Sky's feed flashed red, jamming signal detected. The van's roof panel slid aside, revealing a directional antenna. EMP emitter, Sky muttered. He's going to fry our network. Before Adam could react, the streetlights died. The house lights followed, plunging everything into darkness save for intermittent lightning. Mateo disappeared from the porch. Backup power. Maria barked. Adam fumbled for the generator switch. Nothing. Inside, the Tesla parked in the driveway. The Sentry mode camera flickered on battery reserve. Its screen captured a silhouette darting past. Bowie, still inside, barked ferociously. Hannah grabbed a flashlight, beam trembling. She moved toward the garage, heart thundering. A metallic clang echoed. Mateo had entered through the side door. She shone the light. The beam caught him mid-stride, scalpel raised. Instinct overrode terror. She hurled the flashlight. It struck his temple. He staggered. Maria burst through the interior door, tackling Mateo. The scalpel sliced her forearm, but she wrestled him onto the concrete. Rain blew in, mixing with blood. Adam arrived with zip ties. Together they bound Mateo's wrists. He spat, eyes glittering. You think chains matter? The market never sleeps. Siren crescendoed as FBI SUV skidded to a stop outside. Hannah backed away, knees weak. She saw, for the first time, the inside of Mateo's silver case, ice packs, organ preservation bags labeled in Malay. Clinton was found in the van's rear compartment, sedated but alive. He wept when Maria cut the restraints. He said they'd trade me for the evidence. Paramedics wrapped him in blankets. He clutched Maria's hand. Did you get him? She nodded. We got him. In the weeks that followed, Brookstone Circle slowly exhaled. Mateo Torres was extradited under a joint U.S. German-Argentine task force. Clinton's name was cleared, though the ache of loss could never be erased. He moved to Oregon to heal near family. The Clarks attended every PTA meeting, arriving early, bringing coffee. They launched a cyber safety seminar, teaching parents how to harden smart homes. Sky led the technical sessions, newfound hero of the neighborhood. Detective Maria's suspension was lifted with a formal apology. She was offered a position on an international task force targeting organ trafficking syndicates. She accepted, carrying with her a scar on her arm and a deeper one on her heart. On a bright Saturday, a memorial garden for Eva and Leo was dedicated beside the school playground. Milo placed the first stone, painted gold. That night, Hannah stood beneath a clear sky, staring at constellations Milo insisted were his friends. She felt the weight of guilt, yes, but also the fragile miracle of presence. She whispered a promise into the darkness, never again absent. A breeze rustled the wind chimes, and for a moment she thought she heard distant music. But it was only the soft hum of the town settling into peace, vigilant, scarred, but unbroken. Months drifted by in a wary, half-healed rhythm. Autumn surrendered to the brittle hush of winter. Snow hushed Brookstone Circle, blanketing the cul-de-sac in a deceptive purity. To outside eyes, the neighborhood looked postcard serene again, but every resident carried a private barometer of fear, calibrated forever by the night of the murders. Hannah and Adam felt it in small, unexpected moments. When Milo stayed 5 minutes late after school in Hannah's pulse race, when Adam Slack pinged after 9 p.m. and he flashed on Haven Hub's red strobing bulbs. They lived with invisible tremors, like a fault line beneath the foundation. Therapy became a standing Wednesday appointment. Dr. Lacey, a trauma psychologist with kind eyes and blunt truths, helped them parse a tangle of guilt and relief. She coined a phrase that stuck with Hannah: survivor's hypervigilance. Hannah wrote it on a sticky note and placed it on her monitor at work, a reminder that her sudden spikes of dread were normal, survivable, and, in their own way, a sign of love. Meanwhile, Detective Maria's world expanded far beyond Idaho. She spent January in Frankfurt, debriefing with German federal police, then February in Buenos Aires, walking the dim alleyways where Mateo Torres had first been nicknamed Maestro by local tabloids. She sent Hannah postcards, tango dancers, the steel skyline of Manhattan, each scribbled with updates. Cartel tentacles deeper than we thought. Stay vigilant, but live. Clinton, in Eugene, texted sporadically. Grief counseling was a marathon, not a sprint, he wrote. He had taken up woodworking, carving small animal figurines because a tactile focus eased the night maze. In March, he mailed Milo a hand-carved triceratops. The boy slept with it clutched to his chest, replacing the plush one lost during the evacuation. April brought the trial. Mateo Torres appeared in a federal courtroom in Boise, shackled, thinner but radiating the same unnerving calm. The prosecution, aided by Maria's painstaking evidence trail, laid out a narrative of international trafficking, encrypted bank transfers to Malaysian shell companies, shipping manifests for medical refrigeration units, and the chilling discovery of a buyer list coded by blood type and age. Hannah attended every session, flanked by Adam and Sky, who had become like a younger brother. She listened to expert testimony about surgical precision and black market transplant logistics. She heard Clinton recount waking from sedation in the van, hearing Mateo whistle a tango while checking a cooler for temperature stability. The defense attempted a last-minute insanity plea, citing Mateo's childhood in the slums of Rosario, parental abandonment, and wartime PTSD from volunteering as a medic in eastern Ukraine. But the jury needed only 8 hours. Guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, Hannah felt no triumph, only a quiet exhale, as though a door had finally latched shut on a room she would never enter again. Clinton wept openly, hugging Maria. Adam squeezed Hannah's hand so hard she felt bone. Sentencing followed, life without parole in a federal supermax. Yet even that failed to feel like closure. The judge's gavel sounded small compared to the echo of children's laughter now forever silenced. Summer returned, bringing long evenings scented with cut grass and grill smoke. The Clarks hosted a block party on the anniversary of the PTA meeting they had missed. It felt perverse at first, celebrating on such a date, but Clinton insisted via video call. Joy is resistance, he said, voice trembling. Let the kids who are still here hear music instead of sirens. So they did. Sky rigged fairy lights and a portable projector. Neighbors contributed potluck dishes, each labeled with allergen info, an act of communal care that made Hannah's throat ache with gratitude. Milo and his friends turned a parking strip into a chalk mural. Rockets, rainbows, a giant heart enclosing the names EVA and LEO. As dusk settled, Detective Maria, home on a brief leave, tapped a glass for attention. She spoke of resilience, of neighborhoods as living organisms whose cells were people, each responsible for circulating safety. She quoted an Argentine proverb, El que no está, pid. He who is absent, loses. Then she added, presence saved lives this year. Yours, mine. Let's promise never to outsource it again. Hannah felt the words resonate like tuning forks. She glanced at Adam, who nodded. They understood attendance wasn't just physical. It was emotional, ethical, communal. It was the everyday decision to show up at meetings, at dinner, in each other's fears. The party ended with a lantern release. Dozens of paper globes floated upward, each carrying a written vow. Hannah's read, I will be present, even when I'm tired. She watched it rise, a fragile ember against the star-punctured sky, until it joined the silent constellation. 2 years later, on a crisp October morning, the Brookstown Elementary PTA gathered in the newly built Evilio Memorial Hall, a glass-walled extension funded partly by a tech industry grant Hannah had spearheaded. The hall featured a cyber safety lab where Sky, now a freshman at Boise State, volunteered every Friday. Milo, 8 now, stood at the podium in a collared shirt, reading a poem he'd written about constellations and courage. His voice wavered but held. Hannah sat in the front row, hand over her heart, tears blurring the boy into a gentle glow. Adam recorded on his phone, not to replace being there, but to share later with Clinton, who streamed from Oregon. Maria watched from the aisle, fresh off a flight from Kuala Lumpur where the task force had dismantled a major node of the organ cartel. She sported a new scar near her collarbone, a reminder, she joked, that she collected them like merit badges. When the poem ended, the hall erupted in applause. Milo beamed, spotting his parents' faces in the crowd, present, attentive, proud. In that moment, Hannah understood that the deepest lesson wasn't merely vigilance. It was investment. Evil exploited neglect, slipped through cracks left by distraction and burnout. The antidote was inconvenient, time-consuming, and beautifully simple. Show up. She closed her eyes, hearing the applause wash over her like rain after drought. Somewhere in the ceiling speakers, the faintest glitch of static crackled, a harmless handshake between devices. And for the first time in years, it didn't spike her pulse. Technology, she realized, was only ever as safe as the people who cared enough to guard it. She opened her eyes to the bright hall, the living proof of community. The nightmare had not erased the past, but it had sculpted a new vigilance, a shared responsibility. As the meeting adjourned, Hannah walked onto the stage, hugged Milo, and together they rang the ceremonial PTA bell, once for Eva, once for Leo, and a third time for all the moments that would never again be missed. The sound resonated through the glass walls and out into the bright Boise morning, carrying with it a promise that felt as solid as any fortress. We are here. The story might have ended there. Gavel struck, garden planted, lesson learned. But evil is rarely a single-use tragedy. It mutates, seeks new vectors, and those who have stared into its eyes know that vigilance is a lifetime subscription. 3 springs after the murders, Detective Maria found herself on a rooftop in Kuala Lumpur's Bukit Bintang district, sweat beading beneath a Kevlar vest. Neon billboards painted the night, but her focus was on a darkened penthouse where cartel accountants were rumored to audit the value of human organs like line items on a spreadsheet. Her partner, Inspector Rahman, adjusted his comms earpiece. Unit Bravo in position. Maria exhaled. The memory of Brookstone's circle never left her. Children's laughter cut short, tango static in kitchen speakers. She carried that memory like a hidden blade, drawing it whenever resolve wavered. On my mark, she whispered. The breach unfolded in seconds. Flashbangs, shouted commands in Malay and English. Suspects face down on marble floors. Amid overturned laptops and half-eaten bowls of laksa, Maria located the ledger drive, a slim SSD taped beneath a desk. She pocketed it, heart hammering. Back at the Task Force HQ, forensic analysts decrypted the drive. Rows of data scrolled, blood type, HLA match, bid price, delivery route. One column froze Maria's breath. Supply node ID, Maestro Boise retired. The cartel still referenced Matteo Torres' capture as a logistical hiccup, not a defeat. Weiss, a subfolder titled Conus Resurgence, contained profiles of American neighborhoods with high adoption of vulnerable smart home systems. Brookstone Circle topped the list, flagged asset compromise, monitor for leverage. Maria booked the next flight home. Hannah stood in front of a ballroom of cybersecurity professionals at DEF CON in Las Vegas, her pulse thrumming with a mixture of anxiety and purpose. The conference badge fell heavy around her neck. On the giant screen behind her glowed the title of her keynote, Presence's Patch, Human Factors in Smart Home Defense. She opened with a story she had once vowed never to tell publicly, skipping the PTA, the murders, the tango glitch. Gasps rippled through the crowd, but she didn't flinch. Instead, she demonstrated how Sky's open-source firmware fork, now adopted by hundreds of neighborhoods, could neutralize zero-day exploits by prioritizing authenticated physical presence. Applause thundered when she finished. Reporters swarmed. Investors offered grants. Yet in the green room afterward, She checked her phone and saw 3 missed calls from Maria. A chill cut through the Vegas heat. She dialed. Maria's voice came through taut. The cartel hasn't let go. They are probing for successor to Matteau, someone stateside. Hannah's throat tightened. Is Milo? He's safe, but I need you and Adam back in Boise. Tonight. The Clarks landed at dawn. Sky, now sporting a DEF CON volunteer lanyard and a scruffy beard, met them at the gate. I upgraded the neighborhood mesh while you were gone, he said, words tumbling fast. But we picked up chatter on the darknet, an auction schedule for next week. Code-named Gemini Harvest. 2 matched juvenile livers. Hannah's knees weakened. Gemini, twins. Eva and Leo were twins, Adam murmured. They are mocking us. Maria led them to a briefing room at the local FBI office. A digital map displayed several red pins across the western U.S., all recent kidnappings of siblings. Patterns emerging, she said. They abduct 2 kids, harvest one to prove capability, then auction the match. Hannah's mind flashed to Milo and his best friend, Jordan, inseparable at recess. We have to stop them. Maria outlined a plan, traced a cryptocurrency escrow to a dropship facility outside Reno. A sting would intercept the surgical team. But there was a wild card, an American broker known only as a quartermaster, rumored to be a former military surgeon with a taste for theatrics. He would be on site to supervise. 2 nights later, an unmarked convoy rolled into a dusty industrial park. Hannah, wearing an FBI-issued vest marked civilian consultant, monitored the feed from a mobile command unit. Maria and Rahman led the assault team. Thermal drones revealed 4 heat signatures inside the warehouse. 2 adults, 2 children bound to gurneys. Hannah's breath hitched when she saw the kids, red-haired twins, maybe 9. Maria's voice crackled over comms. Go! The breach was swift. Stun grenades, tactical shouts. Hannah watched through bodycam footage as Maria sprinted to the children, cutting restraints. The twins saw but were alive. In a side office, agents cornered the quartermaster, a gaunt man with silver hair and surgical gloves. He raised his hands, smirking. You people never learn. Demand outpaces supply. Maria cuffed him, eyes cold, and justice outpaces greed. The rescue dominated headlines. Hannah declined interviews, but she penned an op-ed for Wired titled Why Community is the Strongest Firewall. Donations poured into the Eva Leo Foundation, funding smart home security audits for low-income neighborhoods. At home, Milo asked if the bad guys were gone forever. Hannah knelt, choosing honesty wrapped in hope. There will always be bad guys, but there will also always be people who stand up together, and that's stronger. Milo considered, then nodded. I'll stand up, too. On the 4th anniversary of the night they missed the PTA meeting, Brookstone Elementary unveiled a new program, Guardian Kids, a peer-led tech safety club founded by Milo and his best friend, Jordan. The 2 6th graders stood nervously on the stage in the brand-new Eva Leo Memorial Hall, demonstrating how to spot phishing links inside popular video games and how to verify firmware signatures on smartwatches. When they finished, the packed auditorium of parents and teachers erupted in applause, some wiping away tears, others exchanging proud, astonished smiles. After the presentation, Principal Norris invited Hannah to the podium. She accepted a small plaque engraved, in recognition of turning pain into protection. Hannah Clark, community advocate. The audience rose for a standing ovation. Hannah's eyes searched the crowd until she found Detective Maria Reyes leaning against the center aisle rail, fresh off a flight from Kuala Lumpur where her task force had just dismantled another organ trafficking cell. Maria touched the scar at her collarbone and gave Hannah a nod that said keep going. Outside, the late spring sky blazed sapphire. Children burst onto the playground while parents clustered under the new glass awning. Hannah joined Maria by the railing. Cartels fracturing, Maria said, watching Milo show a younger student how to lock down a tablet. Quartermaster's plea deal unraveled half their stateside network. The rest is running scared. And the next generation learns, Hannah replied, pride swelling as Milo high-fived his protege. Maria smiled. Presence pays dividends. A light breeze carried the clean clang of the school bell, nothing like the eerie tango static that once haunted Hannah's kitchen speakers. She closed her eyes, letting the sound settle deep. The world wasn't suddenly safe, but it was safer because people had chosen to show up. Under the gentle glow of porch lights, Hannah paused at the edge of Brookstone Circle, the crunch of gravel under her shoes sounding louder than it should in the late-night stillness. She looked around at the neighborhood that had once felt so impeccably safe, identical houses, tidy lawns, children's bikes leaning lazily against fences. That facade had been shattered by horror, but in its place something stronger stood, a woven fabric of neighbors who refused to back down from the truth or from each other. Adam joined her, slipping an arm around her waist. They shared a silent understanding of how every heartbreak and triumph had shaped them, Eva and Leo's tragic deaths, the revelations of international organ trafficking, the rescue missions, the new laws, and the vow to always show up for their son Milo. They had weathered it all and emerged with scars and strength in equal measure. If once they had missed a PTA meeting and paid a devastating price, now they would never miss another crucial moment in the lives that mattered. Behind them, the soft murmur of conversation and laughter drifted from neighboring porches. Detective Maria stood in low lamplight, deep in a friendly debate with Sky about the next wave of smart home security. Across the street, Clinton, forever marked by the loss of his children, talked quietly with other neighbors who had become his support system. A late summer breeze carried the faint smells of cut grass and cooling asphalt. Hannah turned her face to the sky where a few stars blinked through the gentle haze of suburban lights. Even all these years later, whenever she glimpsed the constellations, she thought of two bright stars, Eva and Leo, shining with the warmth of memory. They hadn't been forgotten. Instead, their names had galvanized this community, each member determined that no further harm would slip by unnoticed. Beside her, Adam took her hand, his grip familiar and steady. "We've come a long way," he said quietly. Hannah nodded, emotion constricting her throat. "From the night we missed just one meeting." "Never again," Adam said. They both turned back toward their home, the porch light like a beacon, the promise of rest waiting beyond. Life still held its uncertainties, and evil still existed out in the wider world. But here in Brookstone Circle, no threat would find an easy foothold. Not while neighbors remained vigilant, united, and present. Hannah exhaled, letting the contentment settle deep. In that serene final moment, she understood the real lesson, that security doesn't come from impenetrable code or flawless software. It comes from choosing to be there for each other, from refusing to ignore the tremors that signal someone is in danger. Presence is what keeps the darkness at bay. She and Adam walked up the steps to their front door. Bowie gave a sleepy wag of his tail inside, and Milo's school backpack hung in the hallway, a small testament to all the tomorrows they refused to take for granted. Hannah touched the doorknob gently, whispering a vow she knew she would never break. "We are here. Always." She opened the door, and they stepped inside, together, finally at peace.